Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. My name is Emma and this is my book club. Today I'll be talking about Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren.
It's a book club with Em.
This book was fabulous, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I loved it, and then I'm going to talk about the plot and all of the amazing feelings that I felt because of it. Because basically I think that books should be talked about and shared, and when I have emotions about books, I just want to scream them out and I want everyone to share them with me. So that's why I made this video, and I hope that you enjoy it. Day 3, I stayed up way too late listening to the book last night, but I just love it so much. Okay, so one of the reasons I loved this book was that there were two separate timelines. So romantic books usually have a fairly set in stone structure, and this two separate timelines kind of altered that structure a little bit. It built a little bit of suspense that we don't usually get in romantic books. I really liked it. We had one timeline of when the two protagonists were kids and one timeline of when they're adults. So when they're kids, they're 14 to 18, and then when they're adults, it's a much shorter window. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the plot. So if you haven't read the book, fair warning, spoiler alert ahead. So the book starts with the two protagonists as adults, Macy and Elliot. So that Macy is a doctor, Elliot is a writer, and they happen to run into each other at a coffee shop, and it really freaks them both out. Apparently they haven't seen each other in 11 years, but we don't know really what has happened in that time frame or why they haven't seen each other. Then we go back in time and we start to learn about their relationship. When they're 14 years old, they meet each other. They have this really great meet cute where her dad and her buy a weekend home after her mom dies, and they're going to look at the home before they buy it, and she opens the closet and there's Elliot. He's reading in the closet because he has a huge family and they live next door and they're really loud, and he just wants peace and quiet, so he goes into that closet a lot of time, and no one's ever lived there for a while, so it's usually empty and he's just there. But anyway, so she walks in and he's reading, and they kind of immediately have this connection where they talk about their favorite words and the books that they like, and they really automatically connect just as friends through this love of books and words. So as I said, it jumps back and forth, but I'm kind of just gonna develop their relationship as a kid because I think it's too confusing for me to jump back and forth. So they become really good friends. They spend a lot of time reading and talking to each other in this beautiful closet that has like stars painted on the top and all of these books everywhere, and it's kind of their refuge from the world, where they spend their weekends and their summers and all of that together. So we get this friendship that really builds into this honest, intimate relationship between two people who really get each other and speak to each other with frankness and honesty, even though they're children.
They just love each other so much.
And they kind of avoid romance for quite a while, but eventually decide that they want to be together and want to spend their life together. So they start, now they're 18, and they start looking at colleges in the same country, and it's really nice, but we still don't know what happened. So now we go back to the present where they're adults. They have done the meet. They have met each other at the coffee shop and run away from each other. The next day they meet each other again, and Elliot's like, I literally broke up with my girlfriend last night. I realized as soon as I saw you that even though I thought I could be in a relationship with other people, I can't. And she's like, well, I am engaged, but it's nice to see you, let's be friends. And eventually their relationship grows, and she goes to Thanksgiving at his house, and We still don't know what happened between them. We won't for a little bit, but they decide to go to his brother's wedding, which is lovely because all of his family is there. They haven't seen her in so long and they miss her because she was such an important part of Elliot's childhood and they were such an important part of Macy's childhood. So it's really nice to have that wedding where they all come together, and that's finally where we see what happened between them. So then we go back in time to figure out where it all went wrong. So they're together, they're 18 years old, it's New Year's Eve, and Elliot drunkenly calls Macy and he says, I am in love with you, I don't want to spend my life with anyone else, will you marry me? And she's like, literally, you need to calm down, like, of course I feel these ways, but I can't say that to you over the phone for the first time, so I'm gonna come there and we'll talk. And he gets super grumpy and he's like, well, clearly you probably just don't feel that way or whatever, I don't know. Anyway, hangs up. She asks her dad, can I go and drive? And he's like, yeah, just call me when you get there. So she drives all the way there and you like so know what's gonna happen because like, ugh, it's so annoying. As an adult, she kept saying like, oh, we can't date because you broke my heart and so I want to just be friends. So now we know how he's gonna break her heart. And she gets to the party that he's at and he's literally in bed with another girl, asleep, naked, and she just like runs away and she is heartbroken and she goes to her house, the vacation house, and she just like falls asleep on the floor crying and forgets to call her dad. So the next morning her dad shows up and he's like, he kind of figures out what's wrong and he offers to drive her home, and he's really worried about her and he keeps like checking in and being like, do you want to get breakfast and stuff like that. They're really close. He loves her a lot. After her mom died, he really tried to do his best to help her out. So he's very concerned about her and he's looking at her and you see it coming a mile away, but they get in a car crash and her dad dies. So her dad dies and it's literally crushing because you know that like Elliot is not there. She just lost the love of her life. Now she's lost her father too. She can't talk to Elliot about it. All of these feelings are mixed up in one batch of like horrible day, and you know that she's just like can't separate those feelings, of course. Like, how could you separate those feelings? And so Elliot tries to call her and call her and call her and hundreds of times and sends her emails trying to be like, there was a misunderstanding, let me explain, but she doesn't answer, she doesn't look at them, she just doesn't have the emotional capacity to do that. And so then we go back to the present and Elliot explains, well, it was all a misunderstanding. I thought that I was sleeping with you. I didn't know that I was sleeping with this other girl. I was very, very drunk, and I'm really, really sorry. It was all a misunderstanding. I truly thought it was you. And she's like, I totally, like, I get it. And it's not just that, if it was just that it was someone else, I probably would have answered your calls, but because of what happened right after, I couldn't do it. And he's like, of course. And he's like throwing up because he's like crazy sad, and she's like having a breakdown, and they're both having a breakdown. And I was having a breakdown because it was really fucking sad.
Her dad died in a car crash.
So then we're back in the present, we've had all of this explanation, and we finally see why they weren't together for 11 years, how they can be back together again, and
They're gonna get the life that they deserve.
it's just really, really nice because we know that these two people were meant to be together, and they do get together and they sell the weekend home, and there's this really nice moment where she's like afraid to let go of the closet because as soon as they let go of the closet, everything went to shit. But he's like, you know, the closet didn't make us special, we made the closet special. And so they get a house and it has all of these books and his family is there, and she has her family back and she has him back, and she's finally able to like move on with her life. And they get to just be like blissfully happy together, little nerds with their little words and their little books. And he's like, what's your favorite word? And she's like, you. And you're like, oh, so cute. So that's the book. It made me cry so much. If it didn't make you cry, then I don't know, like, how is that possible? So thank you for joining me in my book club today. Let me know your thoughts on the book. Let me know your thoughts on the video. Like, subscribe, give me recommendations for other books that I should read. I absolutely can't wait to share another book with you soon. Bye, guys.